The Seattle game on Saturday featured Jameis Winston, featured DTR, featured Tyler Huntley, did not feature Deshaun Watson and a handful of other starters. We talked about it all week, whether we thought he would, whether he wouldn't, should he not play. Kevin Stefanski came to the ultimate decision not to put Deshaun Watson out there against the first-team Seattle defense. G, you weren't here last week when we had the discussion. Do you agree that it was the right call to not play Deshaun Watson against the Seattle first-team defense with Jermaine Ifedi at left tackle?
If this was the movies, we would play a montage of all of the things I've said for the last 6 months in a nice little bubble in the side. It would be kind of shadowy. And they would be like, remember when I told y'all that Deshaun Watson wasn't going to play? Remember when I told y'all that he should? I was like, bro, I wouldn't play him. I put him on bubble wrap, right? Everybody was like, you're crazy. There's no way Stefanski is letting Deshaun Watson come out here and not play. I said, come on, bro. I said that along with Nick Chubb. I said, that's not going to happen. Well, I was out on a vacation. I was watching. I was on the beach looking around. And my phone started ringing. And it wasn't nobody. It was just the alerts. And it was all the alarming voices of all the Browns fans and media that he was not playing. And I said, wow, these guys really are fired up right now. And I'm the Duke of knee jerk. The reality is, us Cleveland Browns fans and the media have not moved along with the process. We have not grown with our squad. And what do you mean by that, G. Bush? You haven't grown with the team because we still think that this team is at the prove-it stage. They're not. This team isn't young. This team isn't some young team where we're trying to develop people or trying to find studs and trying to find who actually belongs in the league. Actually, to be truthful, they're a veteran squad with a bunch of older guys that have injuries. And if we haven't learned anything, the Bible talks about this all the time. People that are always learning but never come into the knowledge of. What does that really mean? That means that you have things happen to you in your past, and instead of learning from it and truly learning from mistakes you made, you keep taking time to learn. We ain't got time to keep learning. The Browns have all of these different people on PUP lists. We just talked about Conklin. We just talked about Wills. We got to the fact that we know Deshaun Watson's arm and Newsom and Dalvin Thompson. All these guys have had offseason surgery. So if you're Kevin Stefanski, your job is to get the most out of your team and get them prepared for week 1. And the reality of it is there is no amount of passes that Deshaun Watson was going to throw against Seattle, whether it was 5, 10, or 15, that was going to guarantee that he played well or played terrible against the Cowboys. At the end of the day, those 5 passes or 10 passes that he was going to throw, that ain't for Watson. That's for us. That's for the people that don't know if he's going to be good or not. That's our insecurities. At the end of the day, Kevin Stefanski's job is to say, I need to gauge where my team at, get the most out of them, and put them on the field against the Dallas Cowboys in the game that counts. Not put Deshaun Watson out there so it can appease people so they can feel good about coming to the season. Because the reality is, if he was 5 of 5 for 80 yards and a touchdown, no one's going to say, oh, wow, he's going to light the Cowboys up. If he was 0 of 5 or 1 of 6 with 2 picks, it still doesn't mean that he's going to come out and be great or terrible against the Cowboys. His job was to get him to the first game of the season, just like it's his job to get Jed Wills and Conklin and those dudes out to the first game of the season. Reality is, preseason is for us in the media. It don't count in high school. It don't count in college football. They don't even do it, right? Ask yourself, why do they run preseason games in the NFL? It's because it makes money and it gives the NFL an opportunity to market themselves 24 hours, 7 days a week. That's it. So for me, I'm like, okay, well, look, is it uncomfortable to not see Deshaun Watson play or see if he's going to be back or how good he is compared to last year? Sure, everybody would like to see that. But that's not where the stage of the Browns are in. They're trying to figure it out and get guys on the field because they're not trying to deal with what they did last year, losing guys for 1 game, 2 games. For what? No, they're going to go into the season. They'll let Deshaun get his money off, and we'll have to hope and see and wait and see what he's talking about against the Cowboys.
I'm surprised. Last year, you said you wanted them to play in the preseason. You needed to see them. I want to see what these guys look like.
Different stage.
I disagree. I vehemently disagree with one thing you said.
Okay.
That we're not in the prove-it stage. There are 4 teams in my mind that are not in the prove-it stage in the NFL. Everybody else is in the prove-it stage. We did not win a playoff game last year. Mm-hmm. We did not win a playoff game the previous year. Mm-hmm. We did not win a playoff game the year before that. Mm-hmm. We are very much in the prove-it stage. Now, I agree with what you said. We've got a lot of veterans, and we've got players that have played a long time and that should know the drill by now. But for me, if I'm looking at all things even, all 32 teams, and I'm saying which teams have to prove something to me this year, the Browns might be in the top 3.
But the time to prove it is in preseason.
No. However, I know you said, and I agree with you, they play the preseason to make money. That's it. But it is what it is. Mm-hmm. How many of the 32 teams played their starting quarterbacks in the preseason?
I believe it was 24, 25, something like that.
I'll find the list, but I think it's 24.
I know it was overwhelmingly more did than didn't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, there are various reasons why you wouldn't. Did Aaron Rodgers play in the preseason? I don't want him in the preseason. I don't need him in the preseason. He's Aaron freaking Rodgers. Deshaun Watson, for the stage of his career that he's in, there could not be a more prove-it year for a player this year than Deshaun Watson.
I agree.
We all agree that this season is plain and simply, it is on his shoulders. I thought there was a very interesting, and Joel Bitonio's a smart guy. He is a very smart guy. I've interviewed him a number of times. I've watched all of his interviews. He's cerebral and he's thoughtful, and nothing falls out of his mouth by accident. And when Aditi was interviewing him about where, I thought it was funny because she asked the question like 3 times. When she asked it, they broke off a 75-yard touchdown run, so it got interrupted. Then she started asking it again, and they were kicking the extra point. They were going to go to a commercial, so she said, I'll ask it when we come back from the break. They finally got the question out to Joel Bitonio. Are you okay with Deshaun not playing? Where are you on Deshaun Watson? And I thought it was really interesting. The word that Joel used, which was not by accident, because he's a smart guy, he kept saying Deshaun is very confident. He never said Deshaun's ready. He's looked great in camp. He's been crisp. He's got timing with his receiver. He never said that. He kept saying the same thing over and over. Well, Deshaun's very confident in his abilities. Deshaun's very confident. Deshaun has always been a very confident player. I think we all watched his confidence get rocked over the last 2 years. I think that, and you're right. I mean, if he was 10 for 11, we're not going to say, oh, pencil it in. He's going to throw for 300 yards against the Cowboys. No. If he's 2 for 11, we're not going to say, oh, there goes the season. However,
some people would say that.
Some people would
say
and
that.
Also, some people would on the other side, 10 for 11,
That's
say.
True.
So there's always going to be the knee-jerk people. I think that in this particular instance, because he's played, in essence, 10 meaningful games over the last 3 calendar years, guys, he might be confident. But trust me when I tell you this. Somewhere in the deep recesses of his psyche, he's wondering, can I still do this?
Of course, there's always a 10% that lays down there that says, can I still do this?
I had Major League Baseball players in their late 30s used to tell me, spring training used to be a waste for me, but not anymore. And I would say, oh yeah, why is that? Because at 35, you get old really quick. And I've seen it throughout my career. Guys come back for their 13th season, and suddenly over the winter they got old. They forgot how to hit. And I'm not suggesting that Deshaun Watson has gotten old. What I'm suggesting is it's been 3 calendar years since he played outstanding football. Mm-hmm. It won't hurt his psyche for him to go out there against Seattle and play 2 drives and lead to a couple of touchdowns and just get used to game speed again. Because I remember last year when you said there's a difference between game speed and even when you're practicing with another team, there's a difference. I don't want him to have to go through that in the first half against Dallas, because if it takes us a half to get jump-started against Dallas, we'll likely start 0-1. And nobody wants that. I just think that it was a mistake. I got to say, I'm stunned by it, because it was a complete reversal from Kevin Stefanski. Complete reversal.
Well, I will say this before I toss it to Boo. He's been patiently waiting in the bullpen. I think Kevin Stefanski watching him every single day, I think one of the things that we got to talk, right? We got to come to the conclusion, right? When I used to criticize Kevin Stefanski for play calling, I used to say, this ain't it, I don't like this, blah, blah, blah. He eventually proved himself. He eventually won Coach of the Year twice. He got a team to do something last year that was miraculous. They should not have made the playoffs with that. Here's my thought on this, though. When you watch Kevin Stefanski, if you're going to give him credit and you want to say that he should be having the play calls and he should be able to do that and have autonomy, we also have to trust him on his decision-making on what's best for Deshaun Watson and him getting ready to play.
Right.
If Kevin Stefanski feels like, hey, he has the physical stuff down, I've seen enough of that, I'm worried about getting him to the season
Are
healthy.
we sure, though, that was Kevin's decision? Because Kevin had been saying he's going to play in Seattle. All along, he'd been playing that, and then all of a sudden, nope, he's not playing.
He same thing about play calling. Was it Kevin's decision to get rid of Van Pelt? Was it Kevin's decision to take the play calling? I got to take his word at it.
Are you intimating that Kevin didn't make this decision?
No,
Perhaps it came from somewhere else?
I'm saying
because I'm not convinced it didn't come from somewhere else.
I'm saying the fact that Kevin Stefanski has made all these calls just because he doesn't give us the optics of it. Kevin Stefanski is shown to be the guy that's saying, hey, I'm in charge of this. This is my ship. I'm running it. I made Alex Van Pelt's decision. I made the decision to say Dorsey's not calling plays. I'm making the decision on Deshaun Watson because I've always felt, Bull, this is too big to fail. There is no way, there's no upside in him getting injured in a preseason game.
That's not a reason to not play him, though.
Yes, it is.
No, because you're living in your fears. There's going to be real bullets flying around that field on September 8th. Are we not going to play him because he might get hurt?
Living is about it's about being smart, not living in your fears. Like, there's no upside. There's none. We already established.
What do you mean? What if he took 2 drives, took him down the field, and was 12 for 13 and looked crisp? At least he would know here, yeah, I still got this.
And then DeMarcus Lawrence and Michael Parsons would show up in Cleveland and come off the edge, and they're exponentially better than whatever
they're
the Seattle
still going
got.
to show up.
And so my point is, whatever he did in that game does not denote that he's going to either be good or bad in the first game.
Well, 25 other teams saw value in starting their quarterback. By the way, this is a new thing. In the old days, and by that I mean 2 years ago, all 32 starting quarterbacks played in the preseason.
Usually.
And most of them played at least a full game.
Bull, haven't heard from you yet. What do you think?
This is the first time ever in the history of the show Mike is worried about me getting in. I was not worried. See, unlike others in this business.
I was, because we had an 11:30 guest.
Right.
We have an 11:30
That's why I'm worried. Yeah, I need you to get in.
That's why I was worried too, Bull.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I forgot our guest was coming on 11:30. Well, I'll say this. You guys had a good debate going, so I didn't want to interrupt it. My thoughts are kind of in between the two of you. I don't think it's a big deal that he didn't
Would you
play.
have played him if you're Kevin Stefanski?
With the knowledge that I have, I would have played him. Now, maybe Deshaun Watson wasn't feeling quite ready to play. I don't know. Based on the knowledge, if it were my choice, I'd want him to play some. But I don't think in the end it's a huge deal. To me, it's not 10 or 0.
Right.
I think it's in between.
I'd say I'm a 6 on it. Towards wanting him to play.
My choice would have been to play him, but in the end, I don't think it's that big a deal that he didn't play. What I will say, I disagree with G that it's not a prove-it year. It definitely is a prove-it year to me.
No, I don't want to. It's a prove-it year in the regular season. I don't think you could prove anything in the.
That is fair. That is fair. You're right.
Thoughts.
But
you said this team is not. It doesn't need
in the
to prove
prove-it stage.
This team is very much in the prove-it stage for me.
But